Greetings. You know, I don't do these talks every time out here. This is last 2 times I came out, I just walked. Didn't talk about anything. Don't especially feel like talking today, but because I've been getting feedback on some of the videos and in other places. It's funny because when you mention indigenous people and state that they might have done some things right, or that they might be victims, some people get it. Other people are the complete opposite and they flip out. So like the Cartman drama triangle that I described a while back: aggressor, protector, victim. So you can say, well, you know, the reaction is that you say, well, these people were victims, and it's like, oh no, we're victims. You're being aggressive with me, telling me blah, 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 what to think, and I'm actually the victim. So it gets pretty ridiculous, but generally when people adopt a perspective like that, it's really because they haven't, they're being defensive and they haven't actually done any research or learning on the subject. And of course, all of them would be happier, these critics, if they, you know, were in a bathing suit at the beach and never had to work another day in their life, which is basically like an indigenous, you know, lifestyle. So anyway, there's that. Also, another thought about why things have turned out this way in society, why so many people are the way they are. And when you look at the process of childhood development, well, you know, the child is at home, you know, breastfeeding with the mother, the family, hopefully, and that goes on for a while. But as soon as possible, the society gets them into school. So you got kindergarten, but now you got preschools, which are, you know, before that. And I'm not saying all schools are bad, because my kids went to a Montessori school, which I'm very grateful for them, because they don't dictate to the child. They basically observe the child and try to ascertain what their talents and proclivities are, and then they allow them to develop. They help them, but they don't, like I said, dictate. It's not test oriented and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, so what we do is, as soon as possible, we take kids and we put them in school. Now, the school has come to be basically not a school. It's several things. It's a prison, or babysitting, or whatever you want to put on it, but it's legally required that children attend school for what, 12 years? I mean, they can get away with less than 12 years if they drop out, but basically 12 years of very stressful, very boring time spent trying to get the right answer, right? So this is supposed to be a good thing. Oh, you're going to need this when you grow up. You know, you're going to need this to earn a living and blah, 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 whatever. It's like, no, has a tremendously detrimental toll on children and teenagers, because now they figure all life is about is getting the right answer. So just look online, look at the news, look at YouTube, look at anyone just about out there that's talking. It's like, they believe they have the right answer, and their responsibility is to disseminate that right answer. I'm not saying no one doesn't have the right answer, but you have to look at the motivations as to why people say these things. So anyway, that's at the root of a lot of disagreement and argument and things like that in our society, is because certain people think they have the right answer. Well, after 12 years spent in school, and perhaps college as well, and other things like that, training, it's easy to understand. So anyway, that's one thing. Now, going back to indigenous people, well, if you're going to flip out about that, well, take a look at the Amish, for example. Now, I'm not an advocate of religion, but they are religious. But the way that they live is a lot healthier than the way we live. So the food is better, there's less technology, they're more resilient, more self-sufficient. Their communities are closer, relationships are more relationships are better usually. So that's something to think about. And they're basically living a lifestyle more or less like people did about 300 years ago. Now, Aborigines, it could be 1,000, 2,000 years ago. But 300 years ago, I mean, they still get around by horse-drawn carts. You go to a fair, you have to pay to ride on one of those. It's a heck of a lot of fun, right? So they do that all the time. And anyway, I'll probably get crucified for, talking about the Amish too, Jesus Christ. So anyway, oh, by the way, there's another one, Jesus Christ. Talk about getting your right answer. Oh, well, the world is so confusing. I'm so confused and everything else, and I'm supposed to have the right answer. Well, I do. One word, Jesus or God. I have the right answer right here. Okay. Well, that kind of stunts your development if you think you have all the answers and you can stop learning. So anyway, what else? Another thing about childhood development is that when there is instability, and it could be a lot of things, it could be moving all the time, drugs or alcohol in the family, violence, things like that. What it does to the child is it puts them in a state of alertness. So it's like a red alert, because the child never knows when something bad is going to happen and they might be in danger. So what happens with this alert state is, usually it starts really young, at the core self, age 1 to 7. And so it's programmed in. People carry it forward. Well, what happens? Because of the constant state of alert, the person feels a need to be constantly involved in doing something. So this is why you see in the society, people will scroll. They will do repetitive activities that aren't really giving anything back, but they get lost in that. And that's essentially what I'm getting at, is that this state of panic, of alertness, makes people fall into these repetitive patterns. And what happens with that is that reality disappears. Whatever that habitual pattern is, that becomes the reality. So I know this quite well because, well, I've been through it myself big time. So I moved all the time, had violence, bullying. I won't go on about it, but I had a tremendous amount, more than most people, a lot more. So anyway, people ask me, "You're the most productive artist I know. How do you do all this?" It's like, well, I'm basically lost in it, and it's not a good thing. And finally, age 65, it's like I'm beginning to realize this. It's like, wait a sec, what am I doing? And when I do that, when I recognize it, I can kind of go, I can relax and I can stop it. So anyway, there's the thing of, my work and earning money, and I'm getting better about that because I have such a large body of work, a backlog of work, that I can exploit that in all kinds of ways and not have to create new work. The thing of endlessly creating new work as this process isn't really serving me anymore. So it's not that I won't do some of that, but I'm not doing it to the extent that I used to. And so anyway, is that it? Could be. Yeah, I guess so. My mind's a blank, and that's a good thing. Talk to you later. Bye.